Hey, it's the month of May, and this is Intern TV. Wherever you are, we appreciate you turning in for this season one finale. I hope wherever you're at, your curve is flattening because there's light at the end of the tunnel. But just because there's light at the end of the tunnel doesn't mean you're out of it. Stay in the tunnel, keep being safe and smart, and we appreciate you. Keep watching Intern TV. I am your co host, Matt Dopp, and we have another exciting episode today. Tom Van Horn is coming on. He is a man who is wise beyond his years. He's had a bunch of great experience, and I'm really excited to talk to him about everything. I was a co intern with him, actually, with the Wilmington Blue Rocks my freshman year, so I know a lot about him. I'm excited to chat. But before we bring him in, we got to meet the two men that also make this show great, Andrew Golden and Jeff Wilson. Andrew, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Matt. I mean, just finished up my classes for the year, summertime, and just looking forward to enjoying a summer, even though it might be inside. But hey, we got an episode to film.
That's right. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm in the same boat. Just finished up my last final this morning, so it's summertime and the boys are on to senior year, so we're feeling good. We're
Hey, that's
feeling good.
a beautiful color scheme you got going there, the pink on blue.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, I guess before we roll to it, I got to bring up a video surfaced of old Andy Golden, Andrew Golden here. I guess you've been doing some dirty work at LaSalle, cleaning up dead birds and dodging, dipping mascots.
Yeah, I mean, I had an internship class. I had to film a story time, so I knew Matt Dopp would love the story, so I sent it to him. And yeah, so basically, I was interning at LaSalle before the unfortunate events happened, but I was working a lacrosse event in the morning with my boss, and he came up to me and he told me that we had a problem, and my mind started racing about the turf, the nets, the bleachers, so many different problems I was thinking of. But then he dropped the we have a dead bird on the track, and I know LaSalle, it, they're a great school, and they didn't want anyone to think otherwise. So I mean, I had to step up and clean up the bird, and I just grabbed an old dustpan, an old broom, swept it up, threw it away because, being an intern, you got to do stuff that you might not want to do, but it looks good on you, and it shows that you're willing to learn and do anything possible. But speaking of dead animals, I heard there's a war breaking out in Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, between Matthew Edward Dopp and snakes. Care to touch on that subject?
Andrew, I am in the trenches. There's a full-blown reptile infestation happening to me right now. My room is in the basement of my house in Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, and my house is surrounded by woods, and there's a garden outside. 2 days ago, I just finished my one final, and I was sitting down watching a documentary on the National Geographic Channel about George Washington, which was a total hit piece. They made up so much garbage about George and literally just spun him terribly. It was awful. George did not deserve that. But I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and with my peripheral vision, my astute vision, I noticed something moving. And I'm like, what? I look down and I see something slithering under my bed. And you don't expect to see that. So it took me a second to like process what was going on. And then I realized, holy cow, there is a snake in my room. I then proceeded to play the most athletic game of the floor is lava in human history. I ran upstairs. My dad's at the top of the stairs going, what is wrong with you? I go, Dad, there's a snake in my room. I'm not joking. There's literally, my floor's carpeting. This is not a thought that would go through anyone's mind. There's literally a snake in my room. And he was in the military for 20 years and he hates snakes. So he's like on top, like, oh, let's go get it. So I run out. I get a flashlight because I think it's under my room and a shovel. We come back down. My brother and sister are there and my dad's there. And we're like, where is this thing? Like we're afraid of snakes. We don't do snakes in this household. Okay.
Me either.
And I literally, so I'm on top of my chair. I'm refusing to touch the ground. I am scared. I'm a baby. This thing could have fangs. It could be poisoning me. I'm not doing this. And we're looking, and finally I look down, and being a 21-year-old, I have a lot of laundry on my floor. And there's a pair of swim trunks, and I go, there it is. and I'm on top of the chair. My dad's like, "Can I get it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And everyone knows. You watch James Bond, Skyfall, M, the guy making a kill shot. That's not the one in power. The guy in power is the M that calls the kill shot. So I gave authority. So that means I wasn't scared of the snake. I was granting authority to get it. And yeah, so we got the snake wild. I've been paranoid ever since. I I found there was another one today. I went out. I don't know how there's snakes in my house. That's gross. Literally terrified. Like I see movement, I flinch. It's like not in a good spot. But listen, I have a competitive advantage and a natural advantage against these snakes. I have thumbs and I have a brain, a big brain, a big head, a cranium, and arms, muscle, right? That can lunge garden tools at this thing at brute strength. So, yes, I am in a full fledged war with these snakes. This isn't something I would wish on anyone, having snakes in your house. It's disgusting. I'm embarrassed to say it, but like, listen, this is a full out battle, full on war. But listen, so far I'm winning because there's casualties there and I have not been attacked yet. But what a rattling, awful situation to be in. So, yeah, I mean, good for you. I don't know if you were wearing gloves when you picked that dead bird up, but I'm sure you took hygiene. Um,
Oh yeah, he my boss made sure of it. He was because it was like right when Corona Connie was like starting in the U.S. at the time, so he wanted to make sure everything was going okay. So
I, honestly, I gotta stop talking about these snakes. I'm sketching myself out. I'm going paranoid. But Jeff, we're gonna bring in. We love you, buddy.
All right.
But Andrew, I got to bring this up because I love mascots. I have a little bit of clout in the mascot game, but whatever. I heard the other part of that story was you had to dip, dodge, and weave to get around at another mascot.
oh yeah, I mean, believe it or not, Matt Dopp, you also got another athlete in the chat right now because I worked my first Division I basketball game, and they asked me to be the mop boy, and I was ready to take on the challenge. And so timeout comes around, my first time out on the court. I go out there, I start mopping up the paint, making sure it's nice and dry so no one gets hurt. And I noticed the one coach was kind of looking at me, and I was like, I wonder what is he thinking? Is he mad at my mop job? So I turn around and I look up, and the thing I notice are these two mascots dressed as buses racing down the court, and it was like part of their like timeout entertainment or something. So I look up, and I've got a pretty big bus coming full speed at me. So I jump to the side and I let them run past me. But I mean, I'd be lying if I say I didn't see my life flash before my eyes.
So basically, you're like a cat. You're just
I
right
mean,
out of the way.
I don't prefer to be a cat. I'm not a big cat person, but I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you could say
Yeah.
that.
So anyway, how Jeff you doing? You have any bugs in your house or anything?
No, I mean, the occasional fly. Now we got to watch out for murder hornets. But
Oh God,
but outside
that's
of
the
that,
other
no.
thing. My mom and apparently these murder hornets are attracted to them, so they're probably going to be infesting my backyard. I'm gonna have snakes attacking me and murder hornets. Like I'm not safe here.
Listen, it's a fun fact for you because I saw this on Facebook. And you can't put anything that's not true on Facebook. Bees will actually lure a murder hornet into their little colony, and as soon as it comes in, they sacrifice one of the bees, but then the rest of them just gang up and just attack.
Oh my
Oh, geez.
Oh
So,
my God, what a
They're
2020
cold-blooded killers.
sucks.
Oh, hey,
This show's pretty good though. That's probably the best thing that came out of.
but Dop, you know what doesn't suck?
Yeah,
Our guest Tom Van
that's
Horn.
right,
Let's bring
Tom
him
Van
in here.
Horn.
Let's bring him in here. Tom, how you doing, bud?
Great. How are you?
Oh,
Tom, you're a
living the
man.
dream.
I know you're a man that you're always playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. So when we talk about it, you heard those stories, right? And as we're talking about it, like Andrew picking up the bird and the buses, I just kept thinking about these literally tie into your life so much because we all know you have that interesting Acme story. And before we get to that, you remember when we were at the Blue Rocks that we had to dress up as eyeballs and race?
I only had to do that once because whenever I would get in the eyeball costume, it would like deflate and like it would never work. So I like barely fit in the eyeball costume.
Yeah. So basically, to give some background information on that, me and Tom interned at the Blue Rocks, like I said earlier, and there was what we did was we had to do a lot of promotions during the in game, and there was this game. It was sponsored by some eyeglass place, and basically 2 of the interns had to dress up and get in a floating eyeball. One was blue, one was green, and we literally had to race from first base to third base right after the first inning. And just because of the way I am, I like being a showman. I'd always volunteer for it, and it was literally it became a competitive thing. And like I'm not that fast of a runner, I'll admit it. I got short, stocky legs, so I probably did it 5 times. And the first time I did it, the kid I was doing with was honestly he was faster than me. Everyone knew it, so I hustled this kid so crazy. I told him, we were talking, and he's like, "Yo, you actually gonna run?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna jog a little bit, make it entertaining." And he's like, "Oh, cool, cool, cool." But then once we threw this inflatable eyeball on, I was ready to go. Like I was gonna run as fast as I can because I wanted to win it. So this kid played like football and track. Like he would probably be at third base when I was just rounding second. So literally we got there, we went out on the field for ready to go in these eyeballs. Like it's plastering whatever air's in there was gross. And you only have this little square probably this big to see out of. So we're inside these eyeballs, and the guy Jason on the mic goes, "Ready, set, go!" And I take off running as fast as possible. Right, I win this race because this kid goes an O expletive next to me. I win the race in the green eyeball, proudest moment of my life. And the second I won, I went, "This kid is going to kill me. He's going to murder me under these stands," because I told him I was going to take a break, and I hustled him and took off. But luckily, he was cool about it. Then the other 4 times I got smoked because everyone knew I would try to hustle him. But so yeah, that's basically what the eyeball races was. And when Andrew talked about his bus story, I thought of that. But they did start inflating. I don't know, Tom, how many times like you said, you only had to do it once. Did you actually like get to the finish line or like the start line or?
No, they basically they called me out and they basically said my thing wouldn't inflate, so they just said the one that does inflate, he's just gonna run across the whole field, and I was just standing there.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. We could have had a pretty good race because I know we're both really slow.
Yeah, I'm not very fast.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I guess we'll start getting to it. And I'll bring it back my story later, but don't worry. So I know you're a senior. You're probably done with your finals now. So just looking back at it, what's your feeling right now, knowing that it's probably all over?
I'm gonna miss it. I mean, I think the Blue Rocks definitely helped me get my second internship. So I have a lot of experience with minor league baseball. I did a lot of cool things with it, and now I'm just ready for the next chapter. See whatever's gonna happen with that.
Yeah. So obviously, like you said, I know we brought up. So I know your choice sports card. That's something that a lot of people at Newman have interned with, and it's a great place to intern. You learn a lot, and just talk about your experience there a little bit. And I know you got to travel, so that was probably pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I had 2 internship offers last summer, and then Dr. Lanzillo basically sent me an email and said, "I think you would like it here." So I went and interviewed, and my boss of choice was 10 years older than me. We basically had the same personality, so he was basically almost hired me on the spot because he was he just fits well here, and I did fit well there, and it was really fun. I got to go to the baseball winter meetings in San Diego in December, and that was a good experience. Fun fact about San Diego has these little bikes on the street that you pay to ride. So we didn't really have to drive anywhere. They were motorized. They were fun. That's how we got to the winter meetings.
So what's that like? I know that's obviously an experience that probably not a lot of college kids get to take in. So literally take us from day one where you learn you're going to hopping on a plane, and just what are the meetings and what was your role there?
So basically it was September, and my boss was like, "Do you want to go to the winter meetings with us?" And I was like, "Are you being serious, or are you just messing with me?" And he was like, "No, we're being serious. All you have to do is pay for your flight and you can get there." So I decided, I scrounged some money up together and I went down there. It was cool. I mean, we had to set up. We worked basically. We were a vendor for minor league baseball, so we basically had to meet with all the representatives for all the minor league baseball teams and talk about the orders that we're going to do the upcoming season. So I was meeting people from all over the country. I have connections now from like California and Texas and everywhere because just from minor league baseball.
Yeah, so you talk about that, and when you brought up a little bit how the working at the Blue Rocks really set you up. So what was that experience like for you? And looking back, do you really recommend working in minor league baseball for a college kid?
I wouldn't recommend it now because I don't know what minor league baseball is going to happen this summer, but definitely in the future when they start playing again. It was a great place to work. The people are great. The Blue Rocks was so much fun. I was a little skeptical about being Mr. Celery at the beginning, but then you get the Millie Rock in front of 1,000 people in a celery costume, and it really makes you feel alive.
So, what were you able to take from your first internship, and what you've learned, and like were able to take from that internship, and how did you apply it into your future or not your future, but the next internship you had?
My first internship, I mean, as Matt would know, like we wore a lot of hats, so we would do something different every day. A lot of it was really based on selling. So like we would have Hurl the Pearls to sell or 50/50s to sell. And we would try and get as many as humanly possible to make ourselves look good. So like I kind of basically learned how to sell at the Blue Rocks and as a game day operations person and keep relationships, because when I got to my next internship, I was drinking at a bar with people from the Blue Rocks that were my supervisors the summer before. So it's all about I learned just to keep relationships and be yourself.
So kind of going off what you just said there, how you guys wore many hats, being a game operations intern. How do you think that, like, what kind of impact do you think that had on you, being that it was your first internship and, you're doing all these skills, and you mentioned you learned how to sell, just, whether it was selling 50/50s or whatever it may be. How did that help you to further what you can do for other companies down the line?
I mean, learning how to sell in sports is pretty big. We had a class a couple years ago where we had to sell tickets for the Philadelphia Union, and I had no idea what I was doing. So, I mean, that really taught me a skill that I'm probably going to be able to use for the rest of my life. Like I can sell myself now. I can sell anything now. I can sell sand to a camel now. I couldn't do that 2 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Tom, based off that, if you want to hook up with me, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona. We could go sell to some suckers. So, and we'll split the profits. But so I got to bring it up. You brought him up, Mr. Celery. He's for those of you that don't know, he's the Wilmington Blue Rocks' second mascot. So when the Blue Rocks score, a little song goes off. He goes woohoo, and the celery runs out, and that's typically an intern job. Obviously, the first rule of mascotting is you can't tell people who's the guy in it, but because so many people do it, it's kind of an open secret. So I remember the first time I did it, and they bring you in there and they show you these green tights and green morph suit you have to wear. You really have to swallow your pride to throw these tights on that you don't know how many people before you've worn. But so what was your experience doing that, and what kind of dance moves did you hit when you went out there?
Yeah, I looked like the fat Green Lantern in those tights. It was something else. It was fun. The only bad part was just hot days. Like one day it was like 95 degrees and I was in the tunnel sweating on a metal chair. The funny part is like the kids that have seats right where the tunnel is, like peek in and are like, "Oh my God, Mr. Celery's there." So then I have to kind of either stand there and act like they're not talking to me or just wave a little bit. And then their parents are like, "All right, it's time to get back. He's got to go to work." I don't know. It was fun. Like, I think the first part, like the first time I did it was a little nerve wracking, but then like, I think our manager Liz was like, "You got to dance a little bit better." And I just started letting loose. And I was like, I don't know, I was doing the Millie Rock, I was doing the Nay Nay, I was doing pretty much anything I could think of on the field. People loved it.
Yeah, Liz is great.
So, you touched on how you got these internships, obviously through connections, but I think one of the big things that some students struggle with, in the beginning is how to nail that interview. So, do you have any suggestions or any stories of an interview that you went through on how people can succeed while trying to get that first opportunity?
My interview with the Blue Rocks was it was pretty much a basic phone interview. I mean, just answer all the questions as truthfully as you can. My interview with Choice, I mean, I found out my supervisor grew up 5 minutes from where I lived, and I was just myself. And I pretty much got the job because I was myself, and the company loved my personality. So they were like, he fits here. And they basically hired me on the spot.
Yeah, so you kind of hinted at my question right at the end there, but just to hammer it home. So you're a rare breed because you basically just graduated, and you're where everyone in college hopes to be, graduating and hoping to have enough experience to land that job. So how do you think your experience obviously helped get you the job? You talked about knowing your professor, but just talk about how important it is to really get out there and intern and prove to people that you can work while still in college. So that way they have the trust in you to hire you once you graduate.
Well, I mean, honestly, my future's a little uncertain now because of the coronavirus, so I'm not as lucky as you would think. But I would say I did get lucky with experience. I had a lot of Dr. Lanzel helped me a lot in high school. I'm in high school and college, actually. Um, it's mainly just being yourself. Like I said, if someone doesn't fall like you for who you are, then it's probably not a fit for you.
Yeah, so I get, there you go, Andrew.
Oh, based off of what you just said there, and you said that they don't like who you are, it's probably not meant for you. It kind of goes back on the whole being told no, and some people get down and put down from their getting rejected from a job or an opportunity. Have you ever had one of those moments, and kind of touch on how you got through that?
Yeah, so it was the summer going into my sophomore year. I applied for an internship at the Philadelphia Union, and I was still working at Acme then. So we had I took the internship, and then I didn't realize all of the hours, so I had to back out, and the union were pissed. So it was kind of like a waking moment for me. I was like, I have to be more transparent. I have to be more responsible. Even when you're told no, I think the biggest thing is to just learn from it. Think in your head, why were you told no? And think, is there anything I could have done differently to make the outcome better? It's all about correcting yourself, making tweaks here or there. Being self-aware has gotten me a lot of places.
Yeah, so Tom, I want you to expand on that a little more, because I know I found myself in that same situation, and I know Jeff and a bunch of other people have, where we've accepted an internship and then a better one came the next day, and we realized man, I just accepted this internship, but now I have kind of a dream internship lined up. And I remember I was flustered when I had to do it. But so just to give advice, say if you had to go back and you were put in that same situation again, what would you do differently, and how would you make that a better transition of telling them?
I probably would have gotten them on the phone. I also think if I have 2 internships and I'm not sure, I would say, can I get a couple days to think about it? I won't be so quick to a decision, because it's a lot easier to back off when you're not sure and your employer knows you're not sure than to accept something and then back out of it, because that means you're kind of screwing your employer over. And, sports is all about networking, so you could need them down the line.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to touch off of Dop's question there, because he knows where I'm going to go with this. Last summer, coming into the fall semester, Dop and I had both actually accepted an internship at Villanova. Basically, it was like a game operations sort of internship, working with the football teams and the men's and women's basketball teams. And it seemed like a great opportunity at the time, but at the same time, while we accepted that, we were both also waiting to hear back from NBC Sports Philadelphia. So I think we heard back from Villanova in June or July, and ultimately we never heard back from NBC Sports Philly until about August. So at the time, I had accepted the offer from Villanova, but I was very clear and upfront with my boss from Villanova saying, listen, like, I'm here now, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm still kind of holding out for this offer. And if this does come along, then I'm going to have to, go a separate way. And, I thought I handled it very professionally, and I think it's good for students to know that, you can only do as much as you can control. It ended up kind of leading to where, my boss from Villanova, once I ultimately told him that I was going to accept the position at NBC Sports Philadelphia, he just stopped contacting me, but like I was still getting emails about stuff. So I think you can only do so much, and you can only control what you can control. And I think it's good to ensure that students know that they don't need to go into a panic and try and go further than they really can on situations like this. Dop, I know you probably feel the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I totally kind of forgot about that. Honestly, you brought it up. My mind's running now. But yeah, so yeah, like you said, we got a link sent to us from Dr. J, the voice of God, always sending out positions for us to get. And we both went. I think we both interviewed on the same day at Villanova, and both got it pretty instantly. And for me, and like you said, we both applied at NBC, and we applied at multiple places, but we both had interviews there. And you ended up getting the NBC job over, which was probably the right decision for them anyway. But so I kept going, and I went to Villanova. And when I got there, it wasn't really my favorite. It wasn't everything I thought we were promised. And same thing, I ended up rolling around and got another internship with the Philadelphia Union and doing partnership marketing, where I feel like that would have been much more relevant to my life. And I was, for my goals in my career. So, it was an awkward situation for me where it's like, I really don't want to do this Villanova one anymore. But I mean, I already accepted it, and the season's 2 weeks away. I can't just dump them, because that's not A, giving me a bad name, but then B, it's giving our school a bad name. So, it's just you're in these conflicting positions, and I wrote it out. I worked as minimally as possible just because, I wanted to keep my commitment, obviously, being that deep into it. You did the right thing pulling out early, he stopped talking to you. But so yeah, I wrote it out the semester and then told him at another position, which I think my experience helped, because sophomore year I was in a similar situation where I ended up overworking myself and doing 2 internships at the same time. And one was an hour away, the other one was 40 minutes away. And I was also taking a Dr. Jeff Graber's accounting class and RD statistics. So those who are in those classes know how hard those are by themselves, not alone doing 2 internships about an hour away. So same thing. But Tom, that was great what you said. And
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask Tom this question. Obviously we touched on your senior. You're getting ready to move on to the next step. What is your advice for younger students? Juniors, sophomores, incoming freshmen. What's your advice for them? To like get out there and get after it and get started.
My thing is, if you have a guest speaker in your class that's a professional, reach out to them. Reach out to as many people that you know in the industry as you can, because it really is about who you know. Like I had that drilled into my head for 4 years, and now, halfway through my senior year, I finally realized, maybe everybody was right that was drilling that into my head.
Are you shy at all when you were a freshman or sophomore about going up to people and trying to connect, or just going to like a networking event and handing them your card? Did you have any nerves, and how did you shake them?
I was extremely shy. I have really bad social anxiety, so getting me out of my comfort zone took, I don't know, probably a year. Even until my senior year, I had a problem. I didn't have a problem reaching out to people. I had a problem keeping in contact with them. So like I would talk to them like twice and then not talk to them again. now I'm kind of getting a little bit better at following up and, being a little bit more persistent, because I always had that fear in the back of my mind, like, what if I'm bothering them or anything like that. But I think now, like, persistence is key, as long as you don't go overboard with it.
So going off what you just said, you said you always had that fear in the back of your head. How were you able to manage to get rid of that fear? Because I'm, as Jeff and Matt and everyone knows, I'm not the most sociable guy, but I've slowly started to build up some more and more confidence. But how are you able to manage to get rid of that fear in the back of your head of, am I bothering someone? Do they not like me? How were you able to get rid of that fear?
I think I pretty much say not everybody's going to like me. For a while, I was like a people pleaser. So I think now I'm like, if somebody doesn't like me, that's okay. I think if I'm going to try and be as, personable as I can. And if that doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. And I just go a different route. It's just really being comfortable with yourself in a way.
Yeah, so Tom, I know you just hint about being a people pleaser a little bit, and some things that go with being success is doing whatever is necessary, going above and beyond. And I hinted at it a little bit earlier with Andrew's dead bird story. So I know you have something at Acme that happened with a dog where you really had to be the MVP and go above and beyond.
Yeah. So I don't know why this person decided to bring a dog into the store, but they brought a dog into the store. And, I remember I was like walking to the front and I saw the dog walk in, and I like went to one of my coworkers and I was like, why is there a dog in the store? But like, I like dogs. So like, I didn't really care. And then they like called me over to like the back and they were like, oh, the dog like pooped on the floor. Can you clean it up? And I was like, I guess. So I never thought I'd be picking up dog poop on a store floor at a grocery store, but
I feel your pain.
The man does it all.
Does it all. And God bless you for that, Tom. I can only imagine. Like, I worked at a grocery store too. I don't know if I'd be able to gather up the courage to do that. So good for you. And so I don't know. I know you're pretty familiar with the show, and I think you know what's coming. So we're gonna hit you with quick six. We're gonna fire off some questions, and you gotta answer them as soon as possible.
All right.
All right, you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first, and then we're heading over to Andrew, Jeff. So for me, ready? 3, 2, 1. What does Siri do when you're not talking to her?
Lay down and nap.
Would you rather have Carson Wentz for the next 10 years, but you don't know what the outcome of his success will be, or start Jalen Hurts right this season and he wins a Super Bowl the first year?
Start Jalen Hurts win the Super Bowl.
Thought you were a Carson Wentz guy.
Out of the two Newman University colors of blue and yellow/gold, whichever you prefer, what is your favorite?
Gold.
Is it true that whoever smelt it dealt it?
Yes.
Would you rather be able to run really fast or jump really high?
I played basketball most of my life, so jump really high.
You've heard the saying, the bee's knees. Does that mean that bees have knees?
If they do, they're really thin. Your bee's legs break easily.
There you go. Weak knees. It's the downfall.
Yeah, it's always the downfall, the bee's knees. So that was pretty good, Tom. That was quick. So congratulations to you on that quick mind.
Thanks.
So yeah, anyway,
I usually talk to the first thing that enters my head.
We appreciate you coming, and I speak for me and everyone else at Newman. It was great knowing you, and we're proud you're part of our sport management program, and working with you was always fun. So before we head out and kind of try to wrap it up, do you have any last things you want to say? Any last piece of advice?
I don't know. I just kind of wanted to thank everybody that helped me throughout the 4 years at Newman. Thank Dr. Lanzillo, Caleb Mezzi, and everyone in our 460 class. I think we developed great friendships and lasting memories that I'm never going to forget.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, I guess I'll start the tear sobbing. And like I said in the beginning, this is our season 1 finale. And with that, it's been an incredible year. if we went back to last October and said this would be a thing, I would have thought you were crazy. I know that's cliche, but this was a crazy idea that me, Andrew, and Jeff thought of one random night at dinner and Bruder at Newman. And next thing you know, it was for our internship class, and we made this internship video of Intern TV. You can go look on my YouTube, and we sent it to Dr. Lanzillo, then sent it to Kayla Mezzi, and she sent it to Sean McDonald, GOAT producer at Newman Media, and I guess he thought he wanted us three idiots here, and here we are. We had a lot of fun. We know we needed to have some growing up to do at first. We were probably a little rocky our first couple episodes, but I think all three of us really matured and kind of rolled into our roles here. And I just want to say thank you again to Sean and Newman Media. They are awesome. I want to thank Dr. Lanzillo again for sending the video and sticking with us for the whole semester. She's always on here. You might not see her face, but she feeds us some questions, and Sean feeds us some questions too to make us look smarter than we are. And for you, Andrew and Jeff, I'll pass it to you. But I just want to say it was an honor. You two are two of my best friends. I love you to death. And just floor is yours, boys.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep mine short and sweet because Matt Dopp just killed it there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to say thank you to all the same people. I mean, it's been a journey. We've had our ups and downs, but thank you for everyone that's stuck around and watched us and have continued to watch us. It means a lot.
Yeah, same goes for me. Thank you to everyone who's helped with the show. Thank you to everyone who's been a guest, and thank you to all our fans who watch our videos so that Sean lets us come back every week. And we look forward to being back here next year if we're lucky. So, in the meantime, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and let's get ready for season 2.
Yeah, I forgot. I want to thank Jake Loberak, Carrie, and Irv. I think if it wasn't for Jake and Sean Spence, I don't know why I said Spice. I want to thanks Spence, but I gotta thank Jake Loberak. I can't talk. If it wasn't for Jake,
Pat.
Yeah, and Pat. But yeah, if it wasn't for Jake Loberak, my mic wouldn't have been working. Like literally, we were so newbies at this. They would be like, put a loop in your mic, and I didn't know what put the loop in your mic meant. So I gotta thank him for rigging us up and doing the mics, and everyone at Newman Media for literally going out of their ways to make us three guys look mediocre. So I want to thank all our guests too. Everyone from Corey Ruggiero, Marissa Maglino, Jada, Alexis Lomack, Tom Van Horn today. He was great. Who else? I don't know if Alex Rucci, Tommy Doc, all our guests, if I'm forgetting you, and our fans, like Jeff said, we appreciate you, whether you tune in for all the episodes, one episode, 5 minutes. I'm not bad at math, but I know big numbers on the views are better than little numbers. So we appreciate everyone who supports us. And it's like I said, everyone at Newman Media, our producers, it was great. And we're only as good as the people around us, and we have some great people here. So we will be back in studio on the beige couch for season 2. Hopefully that's better than season 1. Hopefully tomorrow's better than the next. And just can't thank everyone enough.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.